Okay, so this is another quick tutorial on how to develop Rizz. So Rizz is the degree to which you can push off of or traction into your own consciousness as you move. So when people have a lot of Rizz, which is Zoomer speak, I believe, for charisma, I believe you could also call it swag. Swag. When people have swag, you're fundamentally pushing off of your consciousness field around you to do the movement. And so the degree to which you can feel into your own inertia, right? And so there's a lot of movement in your body. Like everything that's moving in the body is inertia. So there's the circulation of the blood, the cycling of the Krebs cycle. Even there's a bunch of like charges and energy going in the body that's moving. And with mindfulness and inward focus, or just being born and being healthy, because that movement is you. So if you're still and you're fundamentally, like if you're attached to yourself, if you are your identity, if you're authentic or whatever, you are those life processes. If you become disassociated, like myself or many other people in the society, because of the a lot of our technology is based off of disassociation, which is the opposite of Rizz. So the degree to which you're like in the computer games, in the idea realm, in the thoughts of the past, in thoughts of the future, anxiety, all that stuff takes you, and you're identified with an idea in yourself rather than yourself. It still is yourself, but instead of like seeing like, okay, this is where I am, you're seeing, okay, this is a pattern inside of me. And so by being caught up in ideas and the imagination and the disassociative self, you're looking at an idea in yourself, and so as you move, you change the idea of yourself. If you've got Rizz, you're looking at yourself, you're feeling your own life force, and so that's just a sense of presence. That's like, oh, I'm feeling my hand, I feel my blood moving, I feel my heartbeat, I feel organs operating, I just feel, I am, like I have that deep sense of feeling. That you'll start to notice that you can like feel the beat, you can feel music, you can feel anything else. And if you're hungry, you have a desire to win. If you're hungry, you have a desire for food. You're hunting. If you've got that desire, you're in another field. So all these different fields that you're in, all of the movement processes in your body are in a fluidic medium. And so Rizz is basically when you're swimming. And so the environment that you're swimming in, everyone is in the same environment. Sorry if this is a tangent, it's hard to talk about. So nothing new is gonna happen. It's the same, like whether or not you have charisma or not is like, I've compared it, it's like swimming. So look at the average person, and you throw them in a pool and they can tread water, and you tell them to get the other end, and they're going to the other end, and they're going, and they do it, and they accomplish it, and they do it in this particular way. You tell Michael Phelps to get in the water, and his movements are his entire body's generating lift no matter what he does. You tell him to go to the other end, and boom, he's generating lift with his entire body. He's sensing even larger waves in the water, so he's like feeling his own wake and riding on his own wave. And then even oscillations in his breathing pattern that causes the water to go up and down, he's feeling that, and he's pushing off of it and trashing it, so he's getting tremendous distance per stroke, right? It's huge efficiency of movement, calm, relaxed, etc. So what's the difference there? What's the difference between the average person floating in their own life force and somebody with Rizz? Is the difference between the average person floating in their own life force, or floating in a pool of water and swimming, and Michael Phelps. And what it is that they're both in the same depth of water. They both mentally understand what's going on. They can feel that I'm in water, and they both know, okay, I have to interact with the water in a particular way to get down there. right? So what Phelps has done, or what you want to do with Rizz, is the same way that like Phelps has felt out into the water and can use like all the water spread out in all these different directions. He can use all of that to push off of and harmonize with to propel himself through the water. Whereas the person who can't swim very well is maybe using the water at their hands, right? They're not really paying attention to very much, and so most of their body movement is drag. They're really paying attention to fragmented, isolated parts, and then everything in between that is drag. So with dance and mindfulness practices and stuff like that, you get into the blood supply, and all of everything that's moving and cycling in the body, everything that's alive has a fluidic nature to it, and you're in that, like you're with it, you're connected to it, you're part of it, just like you would be connected to the fluidic nature of water. You're connected to the fluidic nature of all the water in your body, and you're connected to the fluidic nature of all of the electrical cycles, all of the metabolism, all of the energetic movements in the body. You're also connected to that. And so by moving in the correct way, you can move past all of these events, and by moving past them in the correct way and feeling what you're doing, you can generate lift, you can tune into larger movement patterns like big old waves, stuff like that. You can feel currents, you can generate lift in any posture. You just understand stuff, right? It's just swimming ability. And so when people are good dancers, like when you see people doing crazy optical effects with their Tai Chi, or if they're doing the robot, or like Crump, right? Crump is a really good example of just like pure Rizz. Like what's going on is that you can tell when somebody is pushing off of those places. Like if somebody's really into it, you can feel they're like pushing from their heart, or they're pushing from their deep gut, and they're moving. They become the expression of the event. So actors, dancers, athletes, everyone's looking for the Rizz. Like people do this in terms of a performance thing, but nobody knows, like scientifically what's going on. Like, why do I have Rizz? Why do I not have Rizz? And it's just a checking in, and it's like, okay, I'm right there. So how do it's like everything's important. Everything's important. So it's the even like if you've got the Rizz, like even if you've done something like it doesn't matter if you're doing like functional training or anything else. It's like you could be, if you're there and your attraction, if you're moving from your life force, you can sit and do just isolated, stupid, like I'm going to totally isolate my bicep, but you're not isolating your bicep. The whole body is doing the bicep curl. Versus like if you're broken, it's like you don't think that your neck or your feet or anything has anything to do with this, and the only form that you're worried about is like or same thing if you're like, oh yeah, let's do calisthenics. It's like, is it more important to do the movement with the entire body, or is it more important to do the idea? Is it more important to do a particular shape? And so you naturally, innately have different levels of like Rizz depending on your training, your focus, your mental state, your age, right? Different fields, different mediums of being that you're connected to and swimming in, they go up and they go down. And so in some senses, like at certain points in life, that you can be totally enamored or swept away by different types of charisma. And then as that dries out, it's like, oh, you're on stable, solid ground. And so this is even fundamentally, it's like, it's kind of, I guess it's easiest to demonstrate with motion. I find it easiest to demonstrate conversationally, but people don't really understand that. And it's like, this it's like the only thing you really want to learn. You just want to have this going into any activity that you would learn. And if you don't have this, whatever activity you go into, you're just going to be a loser. So it's like this type of study is the only thing. Once you have this, you can learn anything that you want, and you'll just be good at it. And so that's why people, a lot of times, like, it takes a life or death illness or a horrific situation to motivate people to learn this. But this is the only thing people are learning, like, when people, like when you bottom out, or when life gets hard, or when whatever, like, that's when people, like, they go inward. And they learn whatever, or life gets hard and you really want to make the football team, and you like go inward. And there's so many things that are like this, and it's kind of it's the interesting, like, weak point of anything that you're learning within the community, like that thing that community is creating, like this skill tree. And so, like, if you actually are able to leave the community behind, you can see the totality of what everybody is doing together is kind of a fluid, or kind of a medium within which you can just swim. And when you're capable of just swimming, that's when you do that master level skill of where it just naturally comes out easily. Like, what's a huge process for the community, the pinnacle of the community becomes like trivial, right? And so it's the only reason that there was something to become trivial was the community and the entirety of the tradition and the skill tree, like that. And then but when it's seen from the outside, like when that the eye at the top of the pyramid comes down, then the whole medium can, like, become alive. This doesn't make any sense, but you have to admit it's as good. It's like it makes as much sense as anything else. It's I don't know. It gets cool with like dance or with performing. You want the Rizz to be, like, shining maximally in all radiant directions. Just, look at me, look at this lift. Like, the whole stadium is supporting every single cell in my body. It's just, like, seeking attention, right? But then there's the in the martial arts sense, you want the whole thing turned on, but also you can move with extra Rizz. which is, it's like splashing, or there's this extra energetic effect of, you know, like you just like pump it up there like a shield, and it's like your choice. You're dominating that area, so like you can move with a sense of presence or a sense of being as it goes inward. You can also start to feel outward, right, and move in harmony with like this shared space, right? Like if you start to move in harmony with the surrounding space, then you can use the surrounding space to interact with that person if they entered that shared space. When people start playing with that, you know, it's doing stuff like feints and mind games and stuff like that. But if you're turned on and you're feeling out a little bit, you can wiggle. You can kind of wiggle and change how their body feels with feints and other movements like that. It's not like you're trying to optically fool them, but you can really start to pull the direction that things that want to go, or just make something like irresistibly splashy, flashy, to where you can't help but look at it. And then again, that's just done naturally. But what's going on in the background there is just straight up Rizz control. Yeah. So then, like, yeah, if you're doing it, if you realize that you're looking for like Rizz in all postures, all the calisthenics exercises become just kind of obvious. Like as you do this stuff, you need to be generating lift with every part of the body. So all the bones have to feel like they're generating lift, all of the blood vessels, all of the cells, all the metabolic reaction. As you're here, it's like the correct way to do this is by keeping in contact with the consciousness, with the fluidic part of the body water, but not just the body water, but the body plus all the life forces. Staying in contact with that the whole time and pushing into it in such a way that you generate lift. The same way that you can push into water in two different ways. One of the ways is in a way that's generating force in the direction that you want to go. And the other way, the water's dragging against you. You're not using the drag in the water to pull on, and so it's just dragging. So it's like whatever basic exercise you want to practice. By making sure it's on. Making sure that as you do the exercise, you're generating lift with everything. And so that everything can be increased via a stillness practice where you become more aware of, more things that you could be aware of. and then like an activity practice where you practice moving, being aware of what you already know to exist. And so you'll run into a plateau without a stillness practice. You'll know everything that you know to exist, and the only way that you can find out more things to even want to know about is through stillness. Or like death, right? Some sort of particular type of crisis. Death and stillness are synonymous. So death, stillness, listening is the thing that refreshes the life. But yeah, so it's all, I don't know, just trying to put it into common vernacular for the Zoomers. Cool.